Timberwolves with the ugly 8-point home win. However, on a night where the NBA proved that even the best can get got by the worst on any given game, as the Celtics needed OT at home in order to beat the Detroit Pistons, who tie the NBA record for losses straight with 28. So we weren't as bad as that ugly win, as the Timberwolves play the Mavericks on a second night of a back-to-back, meaning no Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, sorry for messing up his name, and Maxi Kleba. So one the Wolves should clearly pick up at home, and they came out with a serious burst courtesy of Anthony Edwards, who set the tone completely, accounted for so many points in that first quarter, and felt like he just kind of raised everyone's level of play. You see Karl Anthony Towns making a great lob pass early to Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels making hustle plays on defense, wonderful blocks, 4 in this game out of him, along with 5 stocks, efficient shooting, side-eye out of him, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. He's got a lot of other responsibilities, but the rebounding especially, I would like to see an uptick from Jaden, because there's a lot where you're looking, you're like, 1 rebound? Now tonight, 0, and that's becoming a little too frequent for my liking. Overall, though, great start and great energy. However, Anthony Edwards, the biggest flaw that you pick at with this game in particular, turnovers, had 6 of them, along with 44 points. He's such a great scorer. His playmaking this year is also much improved. However, this game isn't a great example of that. And as his turnovers creeped in with his great play, and we got the early lead, they don't have the same firepower. We kind of ease off a little bit and let this Mavericks creep back into the game and not turn this into the blowout that it should have been. As the Timberwolves, first half, 60% shooting, 70% from 3. It's offensive rebounds. We get out-rebounded on the offensive end by 7 in this game, give up 13. Also have 22 turnovers in this one, and 15 of those by halftime, which is another just horrifying, infuriating stat. And in that time, what my mind immediately goes to when we need to control the ball, the best people on our team for doing that, Mike Conley, which was the starter in the first half that got the least amount of minutes, and then off the bench, Jordan McLaughlin, who sees 0 minutes in this game. That's extremely questionable decision-making to me. It feels like this game was just screeching out for me for Jordan McLaughlin all game long. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to hustle. He's going to gain possessions for you instead of lose them like we continued to for the entirety of the game, and that was our biggest struggle. And not even looking J-Mac's way is just a massive question mark for me. We opted in more for Slow-Mo, who got plenty of minutes in this game. Not a very good shooting game. 3 turnovers to go with his 3 assists. And although he's a great passer and I like his point guard minutes, he's still a high turnover player and has those mistakes more frequently than J-Mac or Conley. So that's when it gets frustrating, and you gotta know situationally when to use him. Especially, we already have overwhelming amounts of height in comparison to this Mavericks team, and someone to guard Seth Curry, who gets 30 minutes in this game and is small, is gonna hustle his ass off, is going to be a perfect fit again for J-Mac. So what are we doing with the personnel there? Also, clearly an off-cat night. He has 5 fouls, at least 4 of those being offensive. His driving animations need a change. He's hooking people. He's getting frustrated because he doesn't get the calls that normal stars get. And then he just tries to do too much, gets in his own head, and makes terrible plays. And it just gets frustrating. I've gone through this a million times. And so you'd think that this would be a night where Naz Reid gets a couple more minutes, especially 3 of 5 shooting from 3. So let's take advantage of that. No, that's not the case. But let's talk about some more of the good. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another bench player who got good minutes in this one. He has the inverse of 5 stocks with Jaden McDaniels, where he's got 4 steals and 1 block. He was such a pest on defense in this one. Also drew an offensive foul with great screen navigation. And the thing I love about Nickeil, it feels like his defensive mistakes are just better than other people's mistakes. Like he jumps super early trying to contest a Seth Curry three, and just the motion that he makes with his hand in the late contest and the awkwardness of his jump actually probably disturbs Seth's timing a little bit and causes a miss. Like he is so great and crafty on the defensive end, something you usually use more for offense, but really loved how he played in this one, and he was just obnoxious for this Mavericks squad. And then Mike Conley's another person that I always point to where it feels like his mistakes are better than other people's mistakes because it feels like he wants to go out and immediately make things up. I think that's back-to-back games where he either has a turnover or an imminent turnover where he's kind of losing the ball and instantly gets it back from someone, steals it from him. And it's just like, nope, my mistake's not going to hurt my team. I'm going to take accountability. I'm going to make it up real quick. And then you look at other people. Sorry, Karl Anthony Towns got to take another shot where it feels like the mistakes cascade. And they look to point the finger. Usually with Cat, it's not at teammates. It's not that. It's always the Sucks who were frustrating in this one. And that's where he gets distracted, deflects the blame, and doesn't take the accountability to get back and make things up to his team. There's so many things where if the Mavericks have their main firepower in this one, we're probably taking that L. Because this was a really sloppy game, and that continues to be one of the biggest weaknesses of the team. You'd like to see things lean more into Conley, a little bit more control, where you have less turnovers. But maybe this will be a good growth thing, too, for, Ant. Because he does have a lot of high turnover games. He does make a lot of mistakes when he's the primary ball handler. But he makes a lot of great, brilliant plays with good vision, good reads. So maybe this will just continue to give him experience because he is so young. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes it's easy to take him for granted. And, he's an incredible player. Maybe some of these early miscues are only going to lead to a more overall stud, which certainly seems like he's going to be his great teammate, always keeping people excited, and you're happy to have people like that on your team that lift up everyone. Yeah, that's what we got. This was an ugly game. Got the W, that's what matters, but it's not one you feel great about.